computer. Hi everyone, I'm with Andrew Harvey from Summerhill Financial Management, talking today about home office expenses, because so many people get home office expenses wrong. And of course, even more relevant given many people are working from home for the first time or much longer than what they normally do. As many of you know, Andrew and I know each other very well and sort of go back a long time. He's been a big supporter of mine over the years. And has very kindly agreed to be interviewed and give his thoughts about claiming home office expenses. So Andrew, starting off, claiming home office expenses can be a lot more complicated than people think. What's the first step in your point of view in terms of working out what sort of office you have? Can you sort of describe the three types?
Yep. So typically for a client, we look at whether they have, they're carrying on a business. And if they're carrying on a business, for example, they may be doing consulting work of their own. Are they carrying on a business and doing that from home? The second lot we'll look at is for people that aren't carrying on a business, but have a dedicated space at home, whether it's their office, home office, their study, or work area that they specifically work for. And then the third one is those that just do it out of convenience. They might do it on their dining room table, take some work home, look at some things, and they're a third class as a result of it.
Excellent. And so if you have your place of business as your home, many people think you can claim sort of mortgage interest or rental costs, but what are the downsides of this that people don't realise?
Yeah, so for those that are carrying on a business and want to really claim, I guess, holding costs to do with the property itself, they run the risk that at some point in time, the ATO may want them to then pay capital gains tax when they sell the property. So their main residence, which is currently free from capital gains tax under our tax law, may be impacted if they then want to start claiming council rates, part of the building costs of that property. And that really only works for those that have the true businesses. It might be the milk bar out the front, and then they have their home out the back. That's typically where people are trying to do that, claim the interest costs. But when it's really not that sort of scenario, you don't want to risk having your home subject to capital gains tax in the future.
And what do you see as the most common mistakes that most people generally make when trying to claim home office expenses?
So there's a number of these. The first one is the number of people who think just use last year's as a guide. That's not right, because you actually need, under the tax law, receipts. You actually need to be able to give evidence that I incurred these particular costs. So the ability to say use last year's, not there anymore. Second mistakes tends to be people don't have receipts, and you've got to have receipts. You've got to have some way of proving that you're incurring these costs and can substantiate that they are basically deductible. They're the two biggest ones that I find clients, or even talking just to general people, they don't realise. Receipts, receipts, receipts. Documentation is required.
And speaking of receipts, what are the two ways that you can claim home office expenses and sort of the pros and cons of both?
So we actually have three methods at the moment due to the COVID lockdown here at the moment. So we have the actual expenses, we have the ATO allowed COVID rate that we can claim, or the standard set rate that we can claim. The ATO lockdown one, the 80 cents per hour that the ATO is now allowing us from 1 March 2022, 31 December 2020, is based on people tracking the number of hours that they work from home, and they can apply that 80 cents per hour to those number of hours that they've tracked. The issue with that is that 80 cents covers a lot of expenses that they then can't claim as well. So they can't claim internet costs, they can't claim their printer cartridge costs, they can't claim depreciation on their computer, their printers, they can't claim mobile phone costs. So it's a method really for those people who don't like keeping receipts and don't have a lot of other expenses that they want to claim. The second method is the set rate, the 52 cents per hour. Under that method, you can't generally claim depreciation for your furniture and fittings that are in the office that you might be using, but you can still claim depreciation on computers, laptops, printers, that sort of machinery or equipment. And that 52 cents per hour is essentially covering your gas and electricity costs. The third method, the actual method, really is about keeping all your receipts and being able to claim all the expenses that you are incurring to help you to work from home.
And in terms of one of the things that you've seen over the years is people not knowing how to allocate their internet and phone use between business and personal. Any tips in regard to that?
So what the ATO suggests and says that they want to see is some basis that you've done to prove that what is your work or business usage. The ATO have suggested that, for example, when it comes to your mobile phone costs, you go through your mobile phone bills and try to work out what is the business usage from what calls seem to be going out. I know that doesn't always help with the calls coming in, but it's a way of being able to say my phone is either used predominantly for work or only partly used for work. Things like the internet is really being able to document for, say, a 4-week period, the people in your household, who's using the internet, how many hours they're using it for that period, and then using that as a basis to calculate it. That's what the ATO asks you to do. And that's what's in all the ATO correspondence that you can find on their website.
And any sort of expenses that people can claim that many aren't aware of?
I think what people need to keep in mind is what are the things that they're doing that they are paying for that's helping them to produce their income. So it is their home internet, it is their mobile phones, it is any subscriptions that they're incurring that relates to what they're doing for work at home. If they've got a set space at home, like their study or their den, it's looking at the costs to do with cleaning, that they can claim a portion of the cleaning costs, the drapes, the curtains, the fixtures and fittings, the shelving, all of that that's in their study. There's depreciation they possibly could be claiming for those sorts of costs, and they're entitled to claim for those costs. So they need to keep that in mind and maybe just have a think about what do they incur that helps them do what they're doing for work.
Yeah. And before we finish off, any last final hints or tips?
Keep receipts. If you haven't got receipts for it, don't claim it, because if the ATO knocks on your door, they're going to ask you for it. And if you don't have it, they're going to deny you the deduction for it. So you may as well not claim it or go find the receipts and keep them.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much, Andrew. Really appreciate your time on that. And hopefully that helps clarify everything for claiming home office expenses for more people.
No worries. Thank you.